What's up, everybody? Bryce Koon here, back with another episode of Swarm Talk here on the Crowded Booth. It's been a while, it's been a minute, but we are back in. Wanted to take today a couple of things as we get started here on a fine February day. I wanted to start off kind of this new season, this new, I don't know, it's a new season, a new era. But it's also a new season of this show, and it's a kind of a rebranded of what this show is going to be. Now, we've talked a lot about that. We've talked about certain, aspects of the show that will be different, some that will stay the same going forward here with obviously Swarm Talk, number one Georgia Tech show on the internet. Numbers don't lie. You all don't lie. You do a fantastic job of supporting the show. I want to start off tonight. There's no outline. I've got my screen here next to me that we usually kind of outline our shows with. This is more from the heart of what I wanted to talk about tonight. And I've done a couple shows like this, one most notably that received the most views on the channel back in September of last season after the Ole Miss loss. That was negative. There were a lot of negative thoughts, and for good reason with that. And it wasn't well received by everyone. And I get that. I understand that. I think today will, because I want to speak directly here to the fan base. I want to do that. So as we get started, if you haven't already, you're a Georgia Tech fan, you said, who is this guy? What is he doing? Well, my name is Bryce Koon. Used to cover Georgia Tech for 24/7 Sports on the beat. Everything you could have wanted, we were doing over there. Since have moved, covering another team, still with 24/7 Sports, so still have that credibility. But we just launched this show. This is the Crowded Booth. This is my, kind of personal project that we continue to roll out here. It's going to stay it's still going to stay regional in the sense of Georgia-based sports. And without a Georgia Tech talk show out there, we kind of found a niche, and man, we're rolling with a great community. If you would like to, make sure, and please do this, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. Let's see if we can get it to 100 likes. And also join the Discord link down below, because we're going to be talking a lot about things, sports as a whole. Braves fans are welcome to come in here if you're a Braves fan peeking over. But obviously the Discord is going to have some general topics, but Georgia Tech is obviously kind of a more focused topic with our brand here at the Crowded Booth. But I wanted to kind of talk about this as we get into it. 2.5 minutes, let's get to it. And I want to peg this question to you. So it's a question, and then I'm going to talk for a second. What does Georgia Tech mean to you? What does being a Georgia Tech fan entail? Whether you're a grad or you're just a diehard season ticket holder. Look, I have had the pleasure of interacting with a ton of fans on social media. I've had the pleasure of interacting with a ton of, alum of the programs, but also of the school in general, and just kind of an inside glance at what it means to be a Georgia Tech fan. And so I want to give my perspective, and then I really want to hear from you down in the comments. What brought you to be a fan? Why are you still a fan after a lot of the struggles? What makes being Georgia Tech fan, what makes being a part of the Georgia Tech family so special for you? Look, so let's get started. So look, it's no secret. Young Bryce grew up a Georgia Bulldogs fan. By this point, people have tried to use it to discredit, whatever that has to say. The people who've watched long enough, who have listened, who have read the content long enough, know that has no bearing on what we're talking about on this show, each and every single episode we do. I would say the start for me kind of got ingrained back in 2018 when I was brought on to the beat as an intern role, really covering recruiting. As that grew, making connections, getting follows from a lot of you on social media, following some of you back on social media, it kind of took a turn, I would say, in the past 12 to 18 months, where you really get to know the people behind the social media accounts. You get to see the folks, that are diehards in the stands when their team's not playing well or when their team is playing well. And I was having a great conversation. As many of you know, I will be moving out of the Georgia area, but I'm still here now and broadcasted the softball Sunday series 2 Sundays ago for Georgia Tech softball. on ACC Network. And so I just wanted to hit on this because I thought this was really important. Just talking with people, being on campus for the first time really since I've changed the jobs and what it means. Georgia Tech is a really special place. It's a really, in an interesting sense, it's really close family knit, I would say. Just about how people love their program, the love for their school, the love for their institute. It's really cool to watch. And look, we're going to have some commenters, we're going to have some detractors that talk about, what about the school in Athens? What about Alabama? What about Auburn? What about those fan bases? And they're great. There's good things, there's bad things about every single fan base. But I think what makes Georgia Tech special is there is a small feeling when you're on campus. Everybody knows each other because it's not and I'll say, and it's okay, a national brand right now, especially in the, monetary dominant sports of men's basketball and football. It feels like there's a close-knit community. I've, like I said, had the chance to talk with multiple people. You have your Patience Veaches of the world. I mean, the dedication that you see out of these fans to be able to cover their team and follow their team when a lot of people didn't feel like putting in the effort, and that's their professional opinion and their professional role, and they didn't feel like they needed to put in a ton of effort. You have people like Patience Veach who do a fantastic job of not only supporting the program, but also doing everything they can to publicize every aspect of the program and uplift it. You have the Veach family, which I'll just go here and say my experience with the Veach family has just been unbelievable. Fantastic people who, from what I understand, and Patience will probably watch this, and Jim as well, but there's not a lot of, there's not a strong, if you go down the family tree, connection to Georgia Tech necessarily, but man, just took something happened, and they've been season ticket holders for a number of years, and they go to almost every single away game. And so I asked the question tonight, because this is published on Monday night, a little bit a week after Valentine's Day, what do you love about Georgia Tech? I love the close-knit. I love the fact that this is a fan base that very, very passionate about what they are rooting for. Georgia Tech it is special. It means something special. And I really kind of went back and watched. I was there live, but kind of watched Brent Key and his demeanor during the press conference when, Jay Bad and Dr. Angel Cabrera announced him formally as the new head coach at Georgia Tech. And he has that. He has this innate love, this passion for this place. This place that's in downtown, midtown Atlanta. This place that is, if you don't know it, and I was one of those, you think, oh, midtown Atlanta isn't going to be a pretty campus? And I'm here to say it is. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful campus. You walk through campus, and there's just so many cool things to like about where Georgia Tech is located, and not just the 404, not just the opportunities extended to you with internships or post-grad opportunities, but just the vibe and the atmosphere of Atlanta right there in Midtown with that small campus is just unbelievable. And I think when you look at Georgia Tech, you see they now have a guy and a head coach who, there's no denying this guy loves this place. And so it begs the question, he's answered it. Why does he love Georgia Tech? Why do you love Georgia Tech? What makes Georgia Tech special? I think it's the close bond that this fan base has with their athletes. It's not to say that the athletes there are not big enough necessarily to garner celebrity status. No, they definitely are, but you get to see some really cool social media interactions between fans and players. You get to see a closeness of, Jacket Alley, Yellow Jacket Alley, and all these different things that just happen, and it's just it feels just like a pure thing. It's just this, it's untouched by, I would say, the grab, the money grab of we see a lot of other schools, and I think Georgia Tech possesses that. The dedication of this fan base, people argue, is it a small fan base? Is it too, spread out now? That is it an apathetic fan base? Yes, there are certain things where certain fans are going to be certain ways, But, in our Discord group, in group messages, in text groups, and all these different things, Snapchat groups, whatever you may be, these fans really care. And I love seeing that out of a fan base. And it's why it made it so much fun for me to cover while I was doing that, in that full-time role. Now, kind of, in the sense is it makes it more fun to talk about these things because there is a drive, there is a desire to be better from this fan base, and I applaud that. There, a lot of people wanted to hold certain people responsible, and as a fan base, you should do that. I think that's really cool to see. So why do you love Georgia Tech? It's a special place. It creates special memories. I think it has one of the most scenic views in all of the country. I mean, look, my opportunities to, fill in for Wiley Ballard, who's a good friend of mine last season multiple times, more than multiple times, to, call games at, people call it the Rusty Sea at McNeese Baseball Park, Russ Chandler, and get to call Danny Hall's teams, games in those games last season. To be able to do that, I think, really kind of pulled back, I would say, the veil on what this place is. And it's a place that's really passionate. They have a lot of talent. It's, high achieving both in the classroom and on the field or on, the court or wherever they may be playing. And then just kind of getting further into it beyond, the football. There was obviously a lot of drama with football over the past, couple of years. But just to be able to pull back this veil on what Georgia Tech is, it's a really special place. I think the opportunity to kind of see hands-on how things work is really been eye-opening for me personally. But to see the passion this fan base has, yes, they love this school. They love their Yellow Jackets and what it can be. I wanted to get to that because I love the potential of what Georgia Tech can be. We've talked about it, and the definition of a fan is a fanatic. It's a person who might be a little bit overzealous about their preferred team's chances, and I love that. You want that. That's what makes these shows fun. That's what makes the social media interaction a lot of fun. But the potential of what Georgia Tech can be, I think, is anyone would have to love. And I think that if Brent Key finds that, the close-knit family vibe that is on this campus, even from a campus perspective of student body, from alum that are in the downtown Atlanta area, maybe outside the perimeter, maybe even further, the buyback in that could happen here really sets it up to be one of the more special fan bases, I think, in the country because it's there. Can it happen? We'll see. But I just really love a lot of things about Georgia Tech in the sense where it's special. Why? How did I become a fan? Not obviously, the traditional way by any means. You cover a team, and anyone tries to tell you they're impartial. Yes, you are impartial. It doesn't affect my paycheck if Georgia Tech wins or loses. I'll say that. But as you cover a team, you want to see them have success. No one likes to cover a team that's really, really bad. And so, yes, there is a rooting interest, and you get to grow relationships with players, parents of these players, coaching staff members. And so I think just to see that has been really cool in the sense of where Georgia Tech has an opportunity in front of them and to kind of recapture the magic of this fan base. I've mentioned this multiple times. My first ever Georgia Tech game was the game against Florida State back when they ran the kick back for the touchdown. And to see that was unbelievable. That was, I was freshman year in college, Bryce, to be able to see things like that. So, this episode's not really long, but it's like, what do you love about Georgia Tech? I love the family atmosphere. I love the vibe of Atlanta, and I love the potential that this place has. I think that's where Georgia Tech can be special. If they can capture this, ride this momentum into 2023 and into this season, it's going to be really fun to watch. And listen, we're going to get to spring practice. We're going to get to previews and can Haynes King unseat, Zach Pyron, all these different conversations that are going to be really fun topics to share and to talk about with you all. But I think starting this off and kind of what makes you a Georgia Tech fan is a really cool way to kind of hit a reset. Obviously, from more of the news angle, we've been taking this, and we will continue to do in reacting and reporting some of those things. but just what makes Georgia Tech special. And I think it's something we're going to continue to see, continue to monitor, continue to watch of how it does transpire over the next year or so. How long does it take for them to kind of get back? Brent Key cares, and it's like you almost have a fan in that driver's seat who's, well more equipped for this job than myself, than any of us on Twitter or anything like that. But I think to have someone who gets that is huge in the sense, and partially probably where, a person like myself underestimated him being in that role. Look, it's well documented. People want to point out and make fun of it that, I thought that Jamie Chadwell should have been the number one candidate. We can debate till the cows come home if you really thought that he was or was not. All this to say is that you have a guy that really cares. He understands what Georgia Tech needs to do to win. He understands what Georgia Tech is. It's a very unique place. And I think driving away from campus 2 weeks ago for me was like, man, I'm going to miss this place. This place is special. The people there. I can't even talk enough about the people that I've come in contact with. I mean, obviously, a lot of you guys knew, still my coworker, not on the beat anymore, Rod McKenzie, where the friendship forged with him in certain things. A guy like Michael Hickman, who, I've been to dinner with him countless times in Midtown after a baseball game or before a football game or something like that. We talked about the Veach family, interacting with a bunch of you on social media, standing in the stands during the Georgia Tech-Virginia game in the third quarter when, could be in the press box, and I'm down there, in the stands with guys, like Matt and all these other, guys that I really, Lucas Hughes as well, and Jake, who are, love this show, love the Discord, and continue the conversation. And even, I'll say this too, we all always agree. And that's what makes this fan base a ton of fun. The Freeman brothers, they don't agree. We don't agree on a lot of things, and that's okay. But I think it creates a dynamic where you see this fan base cares. And that's all I can ask of you as we continue to do this show, and I hope you continue to support that as well. Like we said, talk about it, subscribe to the channel. We want to hear more of what you have to say, and just answer the question down below. What do you love about Georgia Tech? To me, it's the fans. I absolutely love this fan base. Yes, it can get rowdy in Twitter DMs. It can get rowdy other places, such as, in person or on a show or on a call show that we're going to continue to do in live shows. But, man, it's been special. It's been very, very special, and I think to see Brent Key take over, it invigorates me. Hey, maybe I am a fan of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and I'm going to have a rooting interest, obviously, in their success, and because they're good people up there, and it's a good group surrounding that program, and there's good people who are fans, too, that you want to see be happy in that sense. So, I hope that kind of clears up some things for me in the sense of being able to kind of say, hey, this is why I still want to cover this team. This is why I still want to have a vesting interest in what's going on in Atlanta. But I also want to hear from you down in the comments below, and we'll talk about some of those on the next episode, and I'll address some of those comments too. I think is really important. If you're in a Facebook group, wherever you may be, Discord, join the Discord group, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and make sure to come back because we're going to be talking Haynes King, Zach Pyron, the running back room, offensive line. Where does this group go? Listen, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows on the show. You've just learned it. You know who I am. We're not going to paint a picture that's not there. We're also not going to make you pay for things that may not be true whatsoever just to get clicks. That's not what we're doing. Everything we do here is for free. So I want you to know this. Keep this show free. All you got to do is hit that subscribe and that like button. That's how you keep this show free, is hit that sub button and continue to grow the numbers as we have a fun time. And hey, we may even see you at the spring game come in April. My name is Bryce Koon. This has been Swarm Talk with the Crowd Booth. A little different episode on a Monday night, but I just wanted to come to you and kind of talk to you about this and, what makes you a Georgia